Welcome to Before the Stage. We're here to pull back the curtain on what it takes to build a career in the music industry. I'm your host, Grace, a violinist and creative, building tools to help musicians navigate this career. In each episode, I sit down with artists and industry experts or share from my own experience, offering practical insights and encouragement for musicians. Let's go behind the scenes to see what an artist's life is before the stage. All right, today I'm really excited to introduce today's guest. So I have with me is award-winning violinist Sumina Studer, trained at Juilliard, but she took a different path from the traditional soloist route. Instead, she has been building a career as an entrepreneur and a business owner. She founded her social media management business, Animus, that helps classical musicians navigate the digital world. She is also the first influencer to collaborate with the London Symphony Orchestra, has led social media seminars for industry leaders such as IMG artists, and has become the first ever social digital host of the ARD International Music Competition. Also about that competition, it was known as the Olympics of classical music, according to internationally renowned conductor Sir Simon Rattle. So she had hosting duties, and she has more to come too. Sumina is also the sales executive of London headquartered instrument dealership and expert house Florian Leonhard Fine Violins, where she is the New York partnership and relations manager too. Okay, so on this episode of Before the Stage, Sumina will be sharing her experience in decision-making, entrepreneurialism, teamwork, and staying true to the artistic mission in classical music, all while advocating for the artist's voice. So I'm really excited to have you here today, Sumina.
Wow, thank you so much. I'm really happy we're finally doing this because it's really we've been wanting to sit together and chat about these things for literally ages. So
yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Grace.
I am so excited. So let's start introducing, yourself. Give a brief overview of your background and how you started music.
Yeah, I mean, I am a violinist. I still identify as a violinist, even though I don't perform anymore. And that I have to thank, of course, where it all started was with my musical family. My parents met in their music studies, a singer, my mom, and pianist, my dad. And so they're both in the education system in Switzerland. So they teach music. My sister, she's older. She's a cellist. She's in Munich right now. She's incredible, just really a true musician, a true artist herself. And that's sort of where it started. There was the violin left over. So I guess I would, that's kind of
I don't know about that.
No, I mean, ultimately, there are other instruments that would have probably been a better fit for me in the long run, but the violin really became my voice, of course. And I very much identify as a violinist still.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that.
No,
and then also, and as kind of an introduction here, I like to ask people what is a tool or something that is just changing your life right now that you are using on the day-to-day?
So I would have to properly think about this, but I think in the last few months, not just recently, but in the last few months, an upgrade on CapCut would make a big difference for me. But then again, just because it has you can share projects with other people, and so I'm now learning to let go of certain tasks such as editing and admitting to myself that I don't actually have the time and also the skills to do it as well as how I would like it to be. So I'm testing out working with an editor, etc., to share projects together and outsourcing, just getting help, honestly. We want to lie to ourselves and say we can do everything alone, but I've been humbled. We're coming to that stage where it's okay to build a team ultimately.
Yeah. And we'll get into that more, I think, about teams and building teams and all of that.
Yeah. I mean, especially with editing, I'm sure you're also aware. I've been editing videos for the last 10 years myself, and I think it's time that I get a bit of help.
Yeah.
That kind of, right?
So did you, you've hired someone now to be your editor? Is that what
happened?
So
we're doing project-wise right now. So not everything they do. It's more when I don't have the capacity. Let's say last week I was in Dubai hosting a competition. like I need a team to help me. Like it's never just me at this stage, and I'm
Yeah.
very grateful for having the right people
Awesome.
around me. Yeah.
Yeah, that is so important. Awesome. Well, that's awesome. And then did you like, so you said upgrade from CapCut. Did you like
Because I had the
upgrade?
basic one.
Oh, you
No,
had
well,
basic.
okay, it all started with iMovie, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
and then I was like, but that was like much years ago. No, but yeah, I tried many different apps. Of course, it's everything is a trial and error, and
Yeah.
that so were the editing apps. They came and they went, but CapCut, I
Yeah.
married,
Yeah, it's so
upgraded.
amazing. I
Yeah, it's
just
good.
got a membership. I was like, oh, this
Nice.
is really nice. It will save
Yeah,
me so much time. I don't have
exactly.
to create all these graphics myself from scratch. I was like, okay,
It
I'm
helps.
sold.
It
It
helps.
does.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for that. I will. I'm proud about buying AppCut, CapCut now.
I feel like I just made an ad for them. Like
Yeah, it's okay.
but ultimately I feel like yeah, we gotta share these tips. So I really like
Yes.
that question.
Yeah. Okay, and then your fun fact. You kind of shared a little bit about what your fun fact is, but can you share
Right.
it more?
Did I say something?
Oh, it was your
Am I
sister.
fun? You talked about my sister. Okay, that comes naturally. Yeah.
Yeah.
My sister, she actually, her stage name is Sayaka Selina. So, I mean, she's Sayaka, but
Yeah.
um, so because we don't have the same, she used her middle name as her second name essentially on stage because she just likes to sound better. And I don't blame her for that. Studer is very Swiss and it doesn't sound very elegant in that sense. But then again, I take it with pride, but she found an alternative that works for her. And so oftentimes people don't piece it together that we are actually siblings. So they'll just be
Wow.
like, after I tell them, oh yeah, you know my sister, because she goes to so many festivals, she's very like social person, and just generally a lovely human to be around. When I tell people that we are siblings, they'll go, oh yeah, you move the same, or like you have the same expressions, or like, which
Wow.
is interesting because we don't look
Yeah.
very similar at all, but we
Yeah.
do have like similar expressions, and it's always funny to have people's shocked reactions about
Yeah.
about
No,
that.
that's like the same with my sister. We do not look like
Really?
the similar at all. And
Wait,
then
how big is the age gap?
2 years, like just under 2 years.
All right, and you don't look
So
the same.
no.
Yeah, at all.
And then I
Nobody
think
thinks
it's,
you're even like cousins.
I mean, maybe they confuse us for cousins, but usually people are like, "Oh wait, you guys are sisters," and then they're like, "Oh, I see it now. Like it makes sense."
That's
So
funny.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's wild how it's like even if it's not like exterior, it will
Yeah.
come through.
The essence. Yeah,
Yes, the
exactly.
essence. All right. Well, let's hop into some of these questions. You were just in Dubai hosting the Classical Violin Olympus, like just there. How was it, and how did you prepare for such an important hosting job?
So just for context,
Yeah.
I have done many, like I did digital hosting again for the
Yeah.
ARD. I was the YouTube host for the tone-based violin channel. I've been running my own YouTube channel for so long, etc. But there's nothing quite like this is live TV. This was a different caliber of
Yeah.
what was expected of me. So on one hand, it was actually a bit terrifying, but also I think as musicians, we need to remind ourselves that we start new repertoire all the time, or we have started new repertoire all the time. We dive into competitions, like exploring new territory is a very big part of our artistry, right? So ultimately, went into it just crossing my fingers that the team was chill, which they were, super hardworking, super inspiring to be around, but so like that I've never actually, I think, seen teamwork as tight as a live TV production like this one. So yeah, when I was approached, that I didn't really know what was waiting for me, but I'm so glad that yeah, it just happened because
Yeah.
ultimately a competition like that, this in particular, the Classic Violin Olympus, is super unique because I've done many competitions in my life. I've talked about many competitions with friends and their structures and their reasoning of the competition. But this one, there is no age limit, first of all, which is super unusual. The youngest
Yeah.
was 17, the eldest was 48. different chapters in life entirely, right? How can you even compare people like that? Like the jury was actually mostly conductors, and it was a massive jury, like 25 people, because they really wanted to like dilute essentially like the one winner that was going to come out at the end with many industry like opinions. And then they also publicized each jury member's choices. So that's out on the internet now.
I'm going to go find those.
Yeah, it's
That'll be
really
really
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, this is all
Yeah.
revolutionary because that doesn't
Yeah.
really
No.
all like checking all of these boxes. I don't know any other competition that
Yeah.
does this. And then also, of course, they didn't just play solo, actually. They played a massive program of like also Beethoven Triple Concerto First Movement. I had to pick a concertmaster excerpt. So they also played with an orchestra as concertmaster to show that they can lead an orchestra. And just to top it off, the finalists were selected from 6 preliminary rounds, which were held live all over the world, like in Tokyo, in Rome, in New York, and like massive operation, right? Like, so they
Yeah.
really were trying to find like who is the top, like
Yeah.
who has the personality and can speak in interviews and hold Q&As and have something to say, but also who can actually play. So it was just inspiring all around, like on stage and off stage, I have to say.
Yeah.
So hosting that competition was a massive honor. Yeah,
Wow.
definitely. It was unique. Yeah.
That is a unique competition.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful place that they did it.
Oh my gosh, I
So,
have to say, my first time in Dubai.
yeah.
I
Was okay.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, I tried some Dubai chocolate. I went to the Burj Khalifa by my break, and yeah, I just really like palm trees in the sun.
Yeah, I do
Couldn't
too.
say no to that. Yeah, it was really nice.
Any place with palm trees and sunlight and beaches.
Yeah,
I guess,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
It's kind of desert, but it's still a
it
cool
is
place.
true. Yeah, it's wild. Because the Burj Khalifa, for example, is obviously a skyscraper. Having lived in New
Yeah.
York, like skyscrapers are something I'm kind of used to, but being surrounded by the desert, being on a skyscraper, that is different. Like
Yeah.
that like as far as your eye sees, it really puts into perspective where you're at. Like the Burj Khalifa, it's crazy. Yeah,
Is it like there's like one of the tallest buildings in the world is in Dubai?
I
Is
think it
that
is the
it
tallest,
is
isn't
the
it?
tallest one, which
Yeah,
explains why you can see so much around. Yeah. So
insane.
if you're
Yeah.
like anywhere else, you're like, oh, there's another skyscraper right in front of me.
Yeah. No, it's quite something. I think my favorite part was just reading up, like they had an installation on how it was built and the time frame and the engineers that have worked on it, the wind designers, there are people like wind engineers. I was like, wow,
Oh my
because
goodness.
there were such harsh conditions in the desert. They have to think about every single aspect. Like,
Teamwork. That's some
yeah,
serious teamwork.
yeah,
So
for
yeah,
real.
actually, let's talk about that more. So when you're
Yeah.
collaborating with others, like when you're working with this team and just in general, what do you find is the most important when you're working with someone else?
This question in particular, I immediately think of my company, a social media management company, of course, because we all have, it's really important to me that we align our values and our whys, like why do we do this, that I think, and to constantly communicate around that why. So again, like I think artistic integrity is sort of like, yeah, a certain level of artistic self for our clients, for example, is like our mission, whenever I find people that I feel like work for my company, essentially, I think that would be because they would be such an asset to my company, because our clients would very much resonate with how they see the world, which is artistic integrity is very, very important. That way it bonds people together. But yeah, I once had a meeting with someone very inspiring, Charlotte Lee. She runs her own artist management company, is hugely successful and inspiring. And I mean, I asked her for advice. I was like, how do you do it? Like, tell
Yeah.
me. And she was so kind to, well, she was like, if you run a company, you have to think about the client and the staff and the mission. That's it. That's it. Like, it doesn't get much more complicated than that. And so that really, I think about that a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really, yeah, if you're like the I guess you're the CEO of your company.
Yes. So we can name it however we want. Essentially, we're all leveled and we
Yeah.
lead together. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's so cool. And when you have someone like who is in the boss role, it's like
Mm-hmm.
having them being so servant oriented towards like who they're working with and how they're
We
working with
must.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best
Yeah.
leader, really. It's like a servant leader when you're like, yes, because they're
Yeah. No,
looking
it's
out for
not
the
about,
team and
yeah,
the
yeah.
people and the clients. Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that. Yeah. I resonate
Yeah.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's, yeah, those are the best people to work with, I'd say too.
I mean, listen, like ultimately the clients are like, they are the ones who make the job fun. So
Yes. Oh, that's so true too. If you have like, if you're
for
like,
sure.
okay, that's an amazing project, let me do that, please.
Yes,
And you're
exactly.
paying.
Sign me up. Like I'm here.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the most essential tools for musicians or creatives to have before the stage is a website. Social media is important, sure, but a website is your own creative corner online that you can control. It's your digital home base and it shows you take your craft seriously. I help musicians, creatives, and small businesses create clear, strategic, and easy to manage websites. That way, you can focus on your craft and not all the tech. So, if you or someone you know needs a website, please reach out. You can head to gracesviolin.com to learn more. No, and actually, I have a question. It's like, so with your company, it's like, you probably can't tell me exactly what you've done, but like, what are some projects that you're like, ooh, this was really fun to do?
So we do have a confidentiality belief.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they have signed away the right that we can share about
Yeah.
it, we
Yeah.
won't. But yeah, I mean, and which not many people are willing to, because of course
For
social
sure.
media management is a little more sensitive. I mean, one in particular I can definitely talk about. His name is Malachi. We have when I had a brief time where I worked as an artist manager for about a year, and
Oh, wow.
Malachi, a young singer here in London, but at the time we worked together, and yeah, his social site grew from like 9,000 to 450,000 on Instagram. Of course, that seems impressive and it is cool, but he had many like TV appearances and stuff like that hugely helped to have material to post about and to share.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it in like 4 or 5 months as well, which is insane.
Whoa.
But he really, it was so inspiring to see someone who doesn't necessarily come from a musical family, who just has a love to sing and to be able to help to build around what he already had. Very, I will never forget working with him, I think. And yeah, just generally, yeah, seeing him blossom, like becoming more confident with how he talks to a camera as well and what he says. It's stuff like that that sticks with me. It's not necessarily like just one day, but rather seeing something, a trajectory in someone's development is what excites me the most, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's incredible. Just like being able to like facilitate some growth and like helping them be more comfortable like in front of media
That's the
or
goal. That's the
yeah.
goal. Yeah. That's the
No, that's
goal.
awesome.
I'll
And
let
then
you know.
I had a question. If you're like
Yeah.
an artist out there and you're like, okay, I really need to hire someone to do my social media, what is like someone as you're working with these artists, like, what are you like, oh, thank goodness I'm working with you? Like, what are
Yeah.
you like, you
Like
have
what to look
these,
out for.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I realized this at the very beginning already when I was working as an artist manager and I haven't founded Animus yet. I was consulting people for social media and friends, especially working as an artist manager with clients. You have the artist and then they have a label and you talk to them and they want social media and the artist is overwhelmed to do it. And then there's, you try to outsource social media managers who don't even know how to spell Carnegie Hall. It's like, so there's situations like that where ultimately what I've realized is when an artist is looking for a social media manager, it's not how big is the company, how clients do they have, but rather do they match as people? Because then they can communicate about very personal things, such as how to showcase themselves on social media. A good social media manager that actually matches the artist will, have creative ideas and bring up creative ideas and content ideate. They will ultimately feel like resonates the most with them. So whenever I match a new client, a new artist or an orchestra or whatever to one of my social media managers, I always go based on character, like on personality, if they could match or not. Because I trust, I know all my social media managers have very high competence, like they're all very good. So it doesn't matter which one it is necessarily. It's more like how do their personalities match? That's what it is about. So you want to find someone that actually matches your personality. You feel
Yeah.
like you can talk to. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so important.
Yeah.
That like I guess kind of chemistry between them
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
in a way.
100%.
Yeah, that makes sense. My personal experience when I was working in an orchestra as their marketing director, and I would be like putting things together, and like
Hmm.
asking artists for things. As someone in that role, I'm
Yes.
no longer in that role. When you're like trying to, I guess, ask artists for content,
Yeah.
what is like the best way to go about that? I don't know.
You
It's a
mean
very
to
big,
essentially ask them to open up their personal lives? Is that what you're asking?
not and not personal lives, I would say. I'd say like when I would ask like an artist, it was a very general statement of like, can you just, talk about the piece you're playing, and
Yeah.
sometimes they would have a personal story that, they were like, hey, this is like I played this when I was, 5 years old and it was like my debut piece or something, like very personal
Hmm.
thing between it, or
Yeah.
like my teacher was like the one that, premiered this
Yeah.
piece or
Showed me
something,
this. Yeah. Wow.
like
Yeah.
cool stories like that. But then other times you just get the one person that was like, oh, I like this piece and it was a
Yeah.
fun collaboration process. And
Totally. Yeah.
you're like,
Not
nobody's
everyone
going to want
feels
to watch that.
comfortable. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, yeah, you're so right. We want to make content that is personable because otherwise, as harsh as it sounds, there are many great instrumentalists. What sets everyone apart is their characters and their personalities. I also believe we have to make it personal. We have to strive to like make the artist comfortable enough to like pull that out of them in some way. I mean, I see social media management so much as a trial and error process.
That
It's
too.
it's
Yeah.
like okay, in the first couple of times, they're not so warmed up, they're not feeling comfortable on the camera yet. They're willing, they're showing up. And then after a couple months and a couple analytics calls, they'll start to see, okay, you know what? Yes, they're not performing as well, these posts. Maybe I need to change something. So it's all about like walking them through it and holding their hand, right? Like if they don't have ideas or stories to tell, we're in the field of music, which means there's composers that have stories. The piece has historical significance. There's actually so much that one can talk about. And also when someone interprets a piece in particular that might have been played 100 million times before, still this person's interpretation, there's always something to dig, in my opinion. Like, why do they phrase something this certain way? And then can you record just this one phrase and then talk about it? Or like, can you record this phrase and then if you don't feel comfortable talking about it, let's write it, Like there's
Yeah.
that many different ways to share thought and expression. So yeah,
Oh,
it's
I should have
right.
talked to you when I was working that job. I was
I'm
also
sure
trying
you
to
were
do like
just fine.
a lot of things at the same time.
I'm sure I have so much to juggle with these thought processes. Yeah.
No, it's true. Well, thanks for sharing all of that information. Really appreciate it.
Of course.
And I'd like to actually ask you when did you first realize that you just didn't want to be on the stage like performing and you wanted to take a more, behind the scenes role of like helping people with their social media management or hosting or,
Hmm.
just helping consulting and yeah, not the typical violin performance, soloist route.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, you should have known me like when I lived in Berlin, which was like until 2018. Because I was so like, how do you say in English? I'm not sure the word, but in German it would translate into bitten into. Like I was
Bitten
essentially
into.
just so, yeah, it's like I was so fixated on just, I want to be a soloist. I want to be a soloist. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
healthy, but also
Fixated.
yes,
Yeah.
fixated, sure. Yeah. So yeah, but in German, you bite into it like
I like
it
that
has a different
translation more.
flavor to
It's like it
the
sounds more
yeah.
intense. It
Yes.
really, I get the
Like
emotion behind.
yes. Yeah, so I was very tunnel vision about it. And of course when I started social media, yes, I knew I had interest in it. Because that started in Berlin. I knew I had interest in it, but I only saw it as like a fun thing or something that contributes to my violin career, which is totally fair. And I still, to some degree, push that. Like me as a violinist, it is still part of my identity. It's still true. But I think it wasn't until like I played Queen Elizabeth in Brussels, and I was extremely unhappy with how I played. Which now, when I listen back, I'm like, I did okay. Like I really,
Yeah.
I was really harsh on myself. But like back then it was not a good mental state that I was in. And I was already so frustrated with I was comparing myself a lot. And to some degree, I'm just very competitive in that sense. So I really I would say, wasn't thriving in a healthy way with competitions. So that was sort of a point where I came off stage from the Queen Elizabeth performance, and I just kind of, I was just in like I put the violin aside for like a month, just while I was there for the remainder. Fast forward to graduation, like a year later in the pandemic, 2020, right? I had an identity crisis. I think many musicians did. Many of
Yeah,
us did, because
I did.
there were no, yeah, right? I mean, there were no auditions to do. I was graduating. I was like, now what? Literally, there's nothing. This is the worst time to
Yeah.
graduate. Or
Yes.
was it? Or was it? Because ultimately it pushed me into like, okay, I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I knew I wanted to be financially independent. How can I do this? Internet, okay. I can start teaching violin. Like, so I immediately had a full class of violin students, and had an incredible experience, and made lifelong friends as well. I still am in touch with many of my students and meet up with them when I can. But the pandemic went on. I kept teaching, moved back to New York properly. Long story short, I just realized there's other things I want to do too. And that's where
Yeah.
we met as well. Like,
Yeah, that's
social
right.
media. Yeah,
Social media.
exactly. Taking a course and really trying to push that. Ultimately, yeah, it's just one thing led to another. Then but I knew I wanted to be in the music world. That's for sure. This is my world for sure, because most of my friends are in the music world. Not only, but many of them are in the arts world, and this is where I'm home. So everything surrounds that.
Yeah. There's a focal point, but you're like, there's other things I can do. I don't have to just be a
Exactly. No,
violinist. Yeah.
it just opens your vision when you um see it as like, what is it about music that I actually love? Is it the performing? Because for me, I love performing. Like, I love playing, correct that. I love playing, but I don't love performing. And I love music and repertoire. And I love, like, most of the musicians that are in it, like the people that are in it. I don't love the system that we have to comply to. How can we be more independent and autonomous from being like dependent on concert organizers and PR companies and agents and all this blah blah? Like, social media is one of those ways for sure. That was my solution, and I really believe in that. So there's just other interests. I love to do other things. Like, I love cooking. I love to work out. I love to go hang out with the friends in parks,
Yeah.
and like, but living out of a suitcase as a performer was not for me.
Yeah. Wow. That's really cool to hear. Just kind of like you going from seeing that one career path that was like kind of, I don't know if it was set before you or what you expected out of
Hmm.
it or what you were like, what this could be. And
Hmm.
then obviously COVID is like a turning point, I
Oh
think,
my
for a lot
gosh,
of
it
us.
just
Yeah.
launched us into a different dimension. I
Yeah.
mean,
And also,
yeah,
I think it probably, I think that was like TikTok blew up at that point, and so that even switched like the music industry
yeah,
completely, all of it, like even the classical to
upside
outside of
down.
classical. So it's wild, just like what is happening with the power of social media today and how that is changing everything in the industry. Yeah.
For the better and for the worse, of course, there's always two sides to it. But I really think that it's like, just like almost everything we do in life, we're much more in charge of our outcomes than we believe. And so I think social media is the same thing. If you're going to do it, you can be could be a hostile environment if you train your algorithm to be. For example, it can really mess with your head, or you produce more, you create more, and you're not so much of a consumer, perhaps. Like, maybe that works better. Some other people need to consume to feel like having content ideas, and like, but then, and the same goes with going an entrepreneurial path or pursuing performing as like a full thing. It is as good as you make it to be 9 times out of 10. Like, the factor goes in way more than we like. We got to be resourceful and, think out of the box with these things. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
No,
totally
it's
agree.
true. I think talking about all the social media stuff and your job and your work, I have a question about what
Yeah.
is your favorite underrated part of what you do? You know, all these things you do. And maybe something
Oh my
people don't
gosh.
see. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. I'm like thinking about a lot of things I'm grateful for, and then I'm like, well, I think I do pay enough attention to this aspect. Like, I am
Well,
consciously thankful for
it
Wait, I
could be
have to think.
something others wouldn't assume, you
Okay.
know. Yeah.
Okay, so I think honestly, the amount of opportunities that come when you branch out a little bit, like if you put your eggs into one basket, I do advocate for niching down or finding expertise, especially when you're trying to find a job. Create an expert route, then you're probably gonna get paid a little bit better in whatever you do. But the amount of opportunities that come in when you are a collaborative person is actually insane. Like just opening yourself up to and mentioning it, actively, like seeking that in the eyes of someone when you're curious. And that's a collaborative aspect, I think, that we just don't think enough about. I don't know
Yeah,
if that makes sense. I feel like people
it
know this
does.
though. It's not underrated, maybe. Maybe I need to find something else. But that comes to
It's
mind.
important.
The collaborative aspect is very important.
Yeah. No, I think so. Yeah, having that collaboration and like relational aspect to whatever you're doing, and that really can open up like doors you never thought would be like
100%, right?
something.
Do you have something that's going through your head right now that is similar to this? Right? It's a tough question you're
Yeah,
asking.
I'm sorry. Or yeah, like something that you do that you enjoy that someone doesn't see on the day to
Mhm.
day, and that it's like it's super important, which I
Yeah.
think collaborating is like with others is really important. I don't know. Relationships are super important. Just like
Yes.
having people in your corner and just yeah, having community so important.
100%.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what keeps it going.
it is. So
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you about advice.
Okay.
Just a funny
I'll
way to
try.
phrase that. So when you get advice or when you're seeking advice, how do you figure out which advice to take and which one, just to tune out? Like what is your decision process in that?
As mentioned before, like when I asked Charlotte Lee about advice, I asked people for advice 100%. It's so important. However, I used to think, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. Let me ask like 10 different people.
Hmm.
Right.
I do that.
Yeah, yeah, and
It's a
actually it
problem
would confuse
with
me a
me.
lot because
Same.
but you know what I mean? It actually confuses you, right? So
Yes.
ultimately it's like, okay, there's all these options and it's good to know them, but I still don't know what to do. And I'm very likely to just go with whatever's least scary, right? Least scary being like least risky, safest, not making much of an impact, lackluster maybe.
Yeah.
And it's not even necessarily what I believe in. It's just the safest because I'm scared, because I'm confused, right? So what I started doing a couple of years ago was that I think to myself, it's called channeling, I think. So I often ask myself, if I were, okay, example, if I were an ice skater, right?
Yeah.
I would like, what would Stefan Lambiel do? Like, what would this famous, like, incredible, like, known for his
Yeah.
expression on the ice skater do? Like, and I apply the same concept. So I'm like, if I want to have advice on, let's say, finances, who do I ask? Do I ask a friend who has no bank account, or do I ask someone that I feel like is very financially literate? And I'll just go to them and ask quite bluntly, to be fair. Like it doesn't happen very much, but like, but is that you get the concept? Like I
Yeah, I
think to
do.
myself, who do I channel? Who would know best? And not 10 different people from 10 different points in life with 10 different understandings of it. Like rather I go to the person that I believe probably knows the best what to do in this scenario. So when I'm like, let's say I'm shopping for new shoes that I need for an event, I'll ask my two girls, Ida and Swan, because they're like designers and one of the
Awesome.
most stylish people I know. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, okay, I know who to ask because I value their opinion actually, and I'll actually approach them based on what I witnessed, and what I know about them. So, and that actually feeds into your confidence in decision making as well, and advice taking and advice asking. And then there's moments where like, okay, I can ask someone for advice, or I can just imagine and channel what would they do. Okay, let me just do that. I think that makes sense to me. So partly it is me in that case. So I like adapt what I feel like this person would do, for example. Yeah. But ultimately also gut feeling. Always a healthy portion of that because that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. If your
It's very
gut is really
important.
saying no, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Then probably don't do it.
Yeah. There's like the fear gut and then there's like the instinctual like
Yeah,
get out.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, we can't ignore that. We really shouldn't
Yeah.
ignore
No,
that. It's there for a reason.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild. Like our bodies. and like
Yeah.
giving us
Giving
signals
us
and you're like,
signs here. Yeah, listen to
okay,
it.
I've
It's
gone through my
true.
share of that.
Yeah.
To like kind of wrap this conversation, I
Yeah.
have one more question and then I have my wrap-up question is, so if social media disappeared tomorrow, would your work still reach people? How would you reach people?
That's so important because we absolutely like social media is important. Ultimately, we need to build a portfolio of like, I mean, I'm not even just talking about social media and other jobs and reaching people, but also like, yeah, website, putting stuff on Spotify if you're a performing musician, having an email newsletter. Your community is useful in case social media goes down. I think at this stage, maybe 2 years ago, it was a bit different. I was more dependent on social media itself. But at this stage, as long as I have my contact list, I suppose, on my phone, yeah, I will always have people to collaborate not only for social media, I mean, in terms of entrepreneurial projects and presenting competitions, or I'm a trustee on a charity, for example. Like there's other things that can absolutely feed your soul in that way, that even if my social media management company was collapsing and I didn't find any clients anymore, there's ways to nourish the arts industry and the arts world and being a part of it. But I think it's really important to find ways to keep in touch with your community. And that might mean that you have to collect email addresses, through your website. People can sign up for newsletters and stuff. Yeah, I think it's important to find the email addresses and of willing people who want to be part of your world. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're willingly opting in to your email.
Obviously. Yeah.
You're not just
No shady
taking
stuff.
them places. Yeah, don't do that. That's not
Yeah,
allowed.
maybe not.
But that was really, yeah, that's a really helpful. I mean, because I know you were like, I think a lot of people see you as like a social media guru now that you're like out there doing, I don't know if that's the right thing to
Hey,
say.
it helps a lot, but you got to nurture other things in your life too.
Yes.
Social media is not everything.
Yes. Yeah. So true. Okay. So if listeners could like have one takeaway from today or reminder, from this conversation, what would you like that to be?
Even if you're really set on one thing, there's a whole world that is waiting to see what else you have to offer, and willingly and happily so. It's not just, okay, I failed at this, so now I have to do something else. No, you will flourish in other ways too. And people will love to see that, I think. I think it's important to remind yourself of that sometimes. We're not just one thing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're
No,
complex people.
yeah, that's beautifully said. Yeah. I
Yeah.
needed to hear that. So, well, thank you
But
so
you're
much.
doing it too. I mean, you're walking proof for this, living proof.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
putting a step
Sure.
back out there, going for it. Yeah. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And this is like, I don't know. I love doing this. This is really what I'm like, I feel called to do this. So I'm going to do it again. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That's
Well,
great.
no, this has been amazing to have you on the show today. Where can people
Thank you
find
so
you?
much.
Or if to work with you if they really are at that stage,
Yeah, I
or
mean,
apply to work with you. You probably have a process.
I'd love to chat. So animussocial.com is my company's website. There's a contact form, of course. And yeah, I mean, on social media, I do post on there if people want to check out what I'm doing, what my travels are and what my work is and how I play violin, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Sumina Studer on Instagram, not so much on TikTok. I should really, I rather focus on my clients and not my own socials.
That's okay. I think that happens when you become the manager. You're like, I have socials, but
Yes, and then of course YouTube as well, which is a little bit put on ice right now because again, I just have other priorities right now. But I do have content on there as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Grace.
Yeah. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for being here on the show today with me. So
This has been
excited.
great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Before the Stage. Make sure you subscribe to the show so you don't miss when a new episode drops. If today's episode gave you something to think about, share it with a friend or tag me on social media. I love seeing who's tuning in. And if you have a second, leaving a quick review helps others find the show. Want more behind the scenes stories and tools to support your creative career? Head to the show notes and you'll see it linked our Substack and more. Again, thanks for listening, and I hope today's episode equips you as you navigate your own creative journey before the stage.